With the Winter Olympics over, I'm reminded of the time I made a donation to the Latvian Bobsled team. Why was I there? And did they let me ride the sled? The answers are because it's there, and yes. I was studying abroad in London and really wanted to visit Russia because I'm insane. And the closest destination I could reach was Riga, Latvia. This was the closest I could reach because I was a poor studying abroad college student and could only afford cheap Ryanair tickets, and because actually traveling to Russia requires a complex assortment of visas, which I found out later. So off I went to my safety not assured Ryanair flight at a cost of $12 round trip to Riga. I loved Riga, a fantastic, cosmopolitan city with lots of life. While at my tiny hostel, which cost $7 a night, I discovered a flyer for a day trip to a place called Sigulda, which advertised castles and beautiful scenery. It was called the Switzerland of Eastern Europe, but I found it to be the Ozarks of Eastern Europe. I had a remarkable moment while walking from the train station to a Crusader-era castle, where I stood in front of a low house with weathered trees before a gloomy, uninviting, brown leaf-strewn forest, with an unkempt lawn covered in sun-bleached, colorful plastic children's toys. I was transplanted back to the Missouri Ozarks. I honestly didn't know if I was standing in Sigulda, Latvia, or Rogersville, Missouri. And then I found the castles. Beautiful old buildings, one of which had been torched by invading rivals, so that was neat. After enjoying this fantasy-inspired and deja vu confusing scenery, I happened upon an unexpected sight. It looked like a giant water slide. Huge half-pipes looping back and forth amongst each other and shining in the alarmingly warm sun. And no gate. You could just walk up to it. No ticket booth. No sign saying this way, or don't go this way, idiot, or seriously, this is a bad idea, blocked me from walking right up the steps leading to the top platform. There I saw a sign that read in Latvian and English, Latvian Bobsled Practice Facility. It did not say to go away. The first thing I heard when I approached the top of the platform was the hooting and hollering of drunk Australians. You would be shocked at how incredibly common this sound is when touring Europe. However, it is not a sound you expect to hear coming from a bobsled. And yet there I saw 5 drunken Aussies waving their hands while a trio of what I assumed to be actual Latvian Olympians instructed them to stop doing that. The Olympians got the Aussies to lower their arms and calm down long enough for the team to push the bobsled onto the track, where the Aussies immediately ignored all previously yelled at safety instructions. I honestly have no idea if they survived. Only then did I notice a sign that read, also in Latvian and English, passengers accepted with $60 donation. So there weren't tickets. This was no fair ride. I would be donating to the Latvian bobsled team, and the price was steep. Steeper would be the medical bills if this went sideways, literally and figuratively. And I'm pretty sure that Latvian bobsled might be an outdated and potentially politically insensitive, yet not entirely inaccurate, euphemism for a bad idea. And yet the allure of having ridden at least one bobsled in my lifetime became irresistible. Seriously, how many of you have ever ridden a bobsled? How many of you think you'll ever have a chance to ride a bobsled? I seriously don't, for very real and very serious insurance liability reasons, think that any bobsled track in America will just let you stroll into their practice facility and drop a few bucks into the hands of the coach and hop on. This thing could only happen in a place like Latvia, which is probably why I shouldn't have done it. But of course, I did. I handed over my money, which was more than double the amount I'd spent on my hostel for the entire trip, and was shown to a small 2-person bobsled. Obviously, they wouldn't let me steer, so an actual Olympian rode up front. Their near-bald coach put down his cigarette long enough to pop a helmet on me and give me a set of gloves, along with a safety briefing which consisted of, put on these gloves, put on this helmet, and hold on. Then he pushed, and down we went. Imagine the most intense roller coaster you've ever been on. Then make it more intense. Even more. Little more. Now make the turns tighter, the whiplash more jarring, and now add the image of those poor guys in Cool Runnings when their bobsled flipped at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. As being a legitimately possibility of happening while you're remembering how rusty the blades looked on this particular bobsled, and you'll come close to the feelings of riding on the Latvian bobsled team's practice bob. It lasted about a minute, and it was awesome. Since it was only 2 of us in the small sled, we reached the bottom where a slight incline provided the space necessary for us to slow down, and came to a stop well short of the end of the track. I saw no sign of the Aussie's sled, but had to assume that since we didn't collide with it, they'd departed or their bodies had been carted off. But I'd made it. I'd reached the bottom, and on wobbly feet returned the helmet and gloves and walked to the Sigulda train station to catch my return train to Riga. That was almost 20 years ago. I actually returned to Riga and Sigulda just this last year, only I was a professor leading a group of other students on their study abroad. We enjoyed the train, the journey, the city, the castles, and the views. We did not ride the bobsled.